Dinig ko na sinabi nung tumawag kay Superintendent Padilla, congrats Superintendent Padilla, job well done. Pero grabe yung ginawang dinuguan. Alam ko na ang kausap ni Superintendent Padilla ay si Presidente Duterte dahil pamilyar ko ang boses niya.
Sandali lang. No? Teka muna, medyo seryoso yung sinabi mo eh. Pinaninindigan mo ba yan?
Opo, sir.
Pwede bang ulitin mo kung ano yung sinabi mo?
Mr. Chair.
Congressman Akop.
Mr. Chair.
Congressman Akop first, and then Congresswoman Jinky. Congressman Akop.
Mr. Chair, may I respectfully move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting and consider it as approved. So move, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes held last August 16, 2024, and
Second, Mr. Chair.
duly seconded. Hearing no objection, the motion is carried. So, dear colleagues, allow the chair for his short opening remarks to put the committee hearing in the proper context. Magandang umaga, honorable co-chairs, esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the third meeting of the joint committees, referred to as the Quadcom. Today marks another crucial step in our investigation into 4 issues that are deeply affecting our nation: illegal drug proliferation, the unlawful acquisition of lands by foreigners pretending to be Filipinos, crimes associated with POGOs, and the troubling reports of extrajudicial killings and other human rights violations. In the previous hearings, we discovered alarming details that underscore the existence of well-organized syndicates operating in collusion with public officials, allowing these criminal operations to thrive with impunity. While POGOs have brought economic benefits, they have also become a breeding ground for criminal activity. Our investigation has already shed light on the extensive consequences of crimes connected to POGOs and illegal drug networks, not just on public safety, but also on the credibility of our institutions. We have heard vital testimonies, analyzed evidence, and started the process of holding those accountable for their action. However, our work is far from over. Today, we continue this inquiry with a sharper focus and renewed determination. Perhaps the main concern is not only about corruption and collusion of government officials, but also the alarming reports of extrajudicial killings. We must never accept that justice can be served through unlawful means. Human rights violations committed under the guise of fighting crime cannot be condoned, for they corrode the very foundation of our democracy and our respect for human dignity. Today, the Committee on Human Rights is in the spotlight as it makes its presentation on this side of the inquiry. Chairman Benny Abante will present yet another case of extrajudicial killings never before heard, with a subject treated as taboo in the past years. At this point, the chairman of the Committee on Human Rights is now recognized.
Thank you, Chair. To my colleagues and fellow members of the committee, our resource persons and guests, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. As we convene for this hearing, I am reminded of the immense responsibility that lies before us. We are tasked with examining some of the most critical issues that our nation faces today. Issues that go to the heart of justice, human right, human dignity, and the rule of law. Admittedly, this inquiry has drawn criticism, with some suggesting that it amounts to political harassment. To those who harbor such fears, I say this: if there's nothing to hide, there should be nothing to fear. As public officials, we bear the solemn duty to uphold the truth, contribute to justice, and ensure that our actions are beyond reproach. We must all be willing to participate in this inquiry, for it is not merely a legal obligation, it is a moral one as well. Once again, it reminds me of Isaiah 1:17, where it says, "Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow." This passage calls for justice and the protection of the vulnerable. It underscores our collective obligation to seek the truth and act justly. But let me stress today that it is not enough to speak of righteousness. We must actively pursue it, especially when the stakes involve the lives and rights of our kababayan. In our first hearing, I mentioned several key issues that had been tackled in the Committee on Human Rights, including whether human rights violations were committed during the anti-illegal drugs campaign of the previous administration, whether the state's obligation to protect human rights were adhered to, and whether our existing laws and policies are sufficient to safeguard these rights. We have been presented with data that is both staggering and heartbreaking. The sheer number of drug-related killings, whether conducted by state forces or unidentified assailants, demands not just our attention, but more importantly, action. Action. Kailangan po nating kumilos. For these deaths are not just statistics. They represent lives cut short, families irreparably set shattered, and communities left in fear. In our committee, the testimonies we have heard thus far reveal a distressing pattern of a state that at times has failed to protect its citizens and in some cases may have even abetted the violations of their rights. It is clear that the systems and laws meant to protect human rights have, in many instances, been inadequate or poorly enforced. As we move forward, let us remember that our goal is not to vilify or to shield any individual, but to uncover the truth and to ensure that justice is served. We owe this to the victims and their families, to the rule of law, and to the future of our nation. Hustisya po ang pakay natin, hindi harassment. I call upon all who have been summoned to testify to fulfill their duty as public servants. Let all sides be heard, and let no one say that they were not given the opportunity to present evidence in their defense. What the leadership of the House is doing is unprecedented. We are here, united across several committees, to confront and address some of the gravest challenges facing our nation. The proliferation of POGOs, the scourge of illegal drugs, and the devastating reality of extrajudicial killings. These are not just isolated issues. As we have emphasized from the beginning, these issues represent a larger, more insidious threat, one that seeks to undermine the very fabric of our society. These evils, left unchecked, have the power to erode our values, destroy our communities, and claim the lives of our kababayan. That is why the House of Representatives, under the leadership of Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez, has committed substantial resources to this investigation. We understand that the stakes are incredibly high. My friends, our constituents have entrusted us with the responsibility to ensure their safety, to protect their rights, and to create a future where every Filipino can thrive in a society that is just, progressive, and prosperous. This trust is not something we take lightly. We have an obligation, no, a mandate, to stand resolutely against any forces that seek to do wrong, to corrupt, or to oppress. Mandato po natin ito. Trabaho po natin ito. In action, in the face of evil itself, the findings and recommendations that emerge from these hearings must lead to concrete actions, whether in the form of new legislation, reforms to existing policies, or holding those accountable who have violated the trust placed in them by the people. Let this inquiry serve as a symbol of our commitment to justice, and let it remind us all of the power we hold to shape the future of our nation. Together, we can and will create a Philippines that is safe, just, united against the forces of evil. Magandang umaga po. Salamat sa inyo lahat.
Thank you, Congressman Abante.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Chairman Dan Fernandez.
in order to expedite the proceeding of this Quadcom, I will be refraining to deliver my opening remarks, and I will just submit my opening remarks to the COMSEC for its perusal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair Dan Fernandez. COMSEC, please take note of the manifestation of the Chairman of the Committee on Public Order and Safety. Congressman Paduano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Same with Mr. Chairman. I will just submit to the COMSEC and for the record my opening remarks in the next hearing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Congressman Paduano. COMSEC, you are directed to take note of the manifestation by Congressman Paduano. Now, allow the chair first to dispose of some admin matters which was forwarded to the committee. The committee is in receipt of several letters letters pertaining to excuses from our resource persons whom we invited last August 16 and was not able to appear. I have here a copy of a letter from Attorney Joel Ruiz Butuyan. I have here a copy of a letter from Mr. Ruperto Cruz with an attachment of a medical certificate from Medical City stating that Mr. Ruperto Cruz, being an octogenarian, is not available today. And another letter, a supplemental motion for reconsideration by Ms. Ronelyn Baterna submitted before this committee. And a letter from Attorney Harry L. Roque asking that her wife be excused for today's committee hearing. And another letter from Rojas, San Agustin, and Yason Law Offices stating that Mr. Alberto Rodolfo A.R. de la Serna has not received his invitation last August 16. So, that's for the information of the honorable committee members.
Mr. Chairman, in order to be fair with all these invitees that have given us their excuses, may we ask the letter that was submitted to us by Attorney Harry Roque, if this have a substantiation, if this is being substantiated by a medical certificate that we always ask to those who have excuses that are being given to all our committees. I think Mr. Harry Roque is right here. Can we sympathize with the position of your wife, but
Mr. Chairman.
can we ask the good secretary if we have a medical certificate that is attached to this excuse letter?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it was submitted just this morning.
But
it was received already by the committee, Your Honor.
Chairman Dan Fernandez, the committee is likewise in receipt of a letter from Mrs. Myla Roque with a medical certificate attachment from Clinica Manila. So that's for the information of the honorable members of the Quadcom.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman. We just wanted to be fair with everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chairman Dan Fernandez. Before we
Mr.
proceed
Chair.
with the... Yes, Congressman Akop?
May I know if from the medical certificate, it would state that Madam Roque would not be able to attend this hearing simply because of her medical condition? May I know if that is stated in the medical certificate, Mr. Chair?
1 minute suspension. Hanapin ko muna ang chairman. In response to the query of Congressman Akop, I have here a copy of a medical certificate from Clinica Manila, which only states the medical condition of Mrs. Myla Roque. I will submit this to the Honorable Congressman Akop for his appreciation.
May hapon pa naman. Sir, okay na.
Mr. Chairman, in relation
Mr. Chair.
to this... Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair.
Hold on a minute. Congressman Abante and Congressman Fernandez, please let us give time to Congressman Akop because he has the floor. After Congressman Akop, it will be Congressman Fernandez and then Congressman Abante. Congressman Akop.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If we examine the medical certificate submitted by Madam Roque, there are spaces here which would state whether she is fit to work, to travel, and to undergo procedure, may return to work, school, medication given, require most test. Blankong-blanko po lahat ito, Mr. Chair. It did not state whether because of her medical condition, she wouldn't be able or she should not attend this hearing. Therefore, Mr. Chair, I think she should attend this hearing because the medical certificate did not specifically state that she should not attend this hearing because of her medical condition. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman Akop. Attorney Harry Roque allowed the chair first to respond to the query of Congressman Akop. Yes, the committee is in receipt, and we ask the Congressman Akop to appreciate the letter with the attachment of a medical certificate. And may I request that we take up the issue on the letters that the committee has received at the time when the committee will start discussions related to the invitation sent to the resource persons in the subject matter that we are going to discuss this afternoon, Congressman Akop. I hope that is okay. Now, Chairman Dan Fernandez.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We have received a communication coming from Paterna, Ronaldin Paterna, for her supplemental motion for reconsideration. But considering all of the communication that was sent to us as well, that Cassandra Leong was already in the custody of the Bureau of Immigration of Indonesia. And as a matter of fact, our police attaché and the PNP chief is in coordination with the Bureau of Immigration of Indonesia. May I respectfully request that we not consider this motion for reconsideration that was asked by Ronaldin Paterna.
Thank you, Congressman Fernandez. At the proper time, the committee will decide on the supplemental motion for recon submitted before this committee by Ms. Ronaldin Paterna, our resource persons in the issue that the Quadcom is tackling in relation to the POGO. So, Congressman Abante, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Because of the query of Congressman Akop concerning the medical certificate of Mrs. Roque, may I just know, Mr. Chair, from Attorney Roque, where his wife is today, whether he be in the hospital or she be at home right now? Perhaps she could be able to answer later when we are now about to ask him questions.
Okay, before we recognize Attorney Roque, may I remind the members of this committee, including the co-chairs of the Quadcom, to reserve questions related to our resource persons in the subject matter of POGO. We will first deliberate on the issue in relation to the extrajudicial killings of the Committee on Human Rights. Would that be all right, Congressman Abante, and for the other co-chairs of this committee? Hearing no reply from Congressman Abante, we are all amenable that we will discuss issues related to POGOs.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman Abante. Now, before we proceed with the interpellation of our resource persons, let me inform the body that the committee has received information with respect to a very vital testimony coming from a witness that would give information as to the existence of extrajudicial killings in the country. The committee has invited two resource persons that may share information and shed light on the issue being investigated by the Committee on Human Rights or the extrajudicial killings. May we ask the Sergeant at Arms to please call in our witnesses. 1 minute suspension. Our resource persons or witnesses are being escorted by our Bucor Chief General Katapang because our resource persons are persons deprived of liberty or PDLs. So before we proceed with the interpellation or questions that will be propounded by the members of this committee, the Quadcom committee has set some ground rules, and we ask our Vice Chair, Congressman Romy Akop, to please state our ground rules for today's committee hearing. Congressman Akop, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As approved by the body in the last hearing, the following rules shall govern this hearing. During the period of interpellation, resource persons shall be given 5 minutes each to state their position or make a presentation in the meeting. Resource persons shall not be allowed to speak or make interjections unless and until they are recognized by the lead chairperson or the presiding officer. Committee members and other House members who want to make statements or ask questions to resource persons shall register with the committee secretary of the lead committee, which is the Committee on Dangerous Drugs, and shall be recognized by the lead chairperson or the presiding officer on a first to register basis. Members shall be given 10 minutes each for their interpellation, excluding the answers of the resource persons. No member, except the lead chairperson or the presiding officer, shall be allowed to speak or make interjections during the course of the interpellation of a member unless and until recognized by the lead chairperson or the presiding officer. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair Acop. Siguro, bago natin umpisahan yung ating mga pagtatanong, kung meron po tayong katanungan sa ating mga resource persons, tanungin po muna natin ang ating mga resource persons. Yes, let us first administer the oath of our resource persons. Pwede ba nating hingiin na tumayo ang ating mga resource persons at sumumpa? Comsec, please administer the oath of our witnesses.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Please raise your right hand. Kayo ba ay taos-pusong nanunumpa na sabihin ang katotohanan at pawang katotohanan lamang sa pagdinig ng kapulungang ito? Opo. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Salamat, Comsec. Pwede bang matanong ang ating mga witnesses? Kayo ba ay nangangailangan ng abogado sa pagdinig na ito?
Hindi na po.
Hindi na. Ikaw si Mr.
Hindi Magdaro po.
Ikaw si Magdaro. Nangangailangan ba kayo ng abogado? Hindi na. Okay. So, pakilapit nyo nga yung mic sa kanila. Okay. Ngayong umaga po, nandito po ang ating mga miyembro ng mababang kapulungan at sila po ay magtatanong ng direkta sa inyo. At amin lamang pong request ay sagutin po natin ng katotohanan na ayon sa inyong mga salaysay. The members are furnished with copies of the affidavits, signed sworn statements by Mr. Andy Magdaro and Mr. Leopoldo Tan. Tama, no? Mr. Leopoldo Tan. And the copies have already been furnished to the members. And those who wish to ask questions, please have your name listed in the list that the committee secretary is writing down the names of the members who wish to ask. Meron na po tayong listahan ng mga magtatanong tungkol dito. Pero bago siguro tayo magtanong, bigyan po muna natin ng pagkakataon ang ating mga witness na sabihin sa committee ito ang kanilang mga salaysay. Is that okay with the members? Okay. So, siguro, sino po ang ating unahing si Mr.
Mr. Andy Magdadaro.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
So, Mr. Magdadaro.
Po, sir.
Sandali. 1 minute suspension. Okay, hearing resume. So marami pong mga miyembro na nagpalista dito na gusto magtanong. Meron na pong listahan. Yung wala pa ho ang pangalan dito sa listahan at gusto rin yung po magtanong, please call the attention of the committee secretary so that your names will be included. So gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, pakinggan po muna natin ang salaysay na isa sa ating mga witness, si Mr. Andy Magdadaro. Andy, pwede bang sabihin mo sa committee ito ang iyong salaysay?
Opo, Your Honor. Sumpang salaysay po. Ako po si Fernando Magdalero, 56 taong gulang, Pilipino, citizen, hiwalay sa asawa, resident ng Davao City, sa kasalukuyang nakakulong sa Service Support Company Philippines Military Academy, Baguio City po. Matapos po makapagpanumpa ng ayon sa batas ay malaya at kusang loob na papahayag ng mga sumusunod. Noong December 1, 1999, ako ay nahuli sa kasong murder, illegal possession of firearms na noon ay nakapila sa Regional Trial Court, Davao City, Branch 17 at Branch 9. Noong taong 2003, ako po ay nakomit sa Davao Prison and Penal Farm na ngayon ay Davao Prison and Penal Farm pagkatapos na ibaba ng hatol sa aking mga kaso. Noong unang linggo ng August 16, mga bandang tanghali, habang ako ay nasa Brigada 2, nilapitan po ako ni Leopoldo Tan ng kasama kong piso sa maximum security compound ng Davao Prison Penal Farm. Sinabihan niya po ako na tulungan ko daw siya at may ipapatira ng magbibigay daw sila ng kaunting halaga. Tinanong ko siya kung sino ang mga ipapatumba. Sinabi niya na 3 Chinese na nasa foreign ward area ng Davao Prison and Penal Farm. Sinabi din niya na ang nag-utos ay yung dati niyang kaklase sa empleyado ng gobyerno. Ngayon na kinakausap niya sa labas ng gate po. Saan to? Dinagdag pa ni Leopoldo Tan na kami ay nasa panig na ng gobyerno sa mga oras na yon. At pinagkuhaan kami ng kalayaan, pinangakuhan kami ng kalayaan maliban sa kaunting halaga. Dahil dito, pumapayag po na ako sa kanyang pakiusap. Noong unang August 10, 2016, kami ni Leopoldo Tan ay nag-surveillance sa foreign area ng Davao Prison and Penal Farm kung saan nakakulong yung mga Chinese na target namin. Doon ko unang nakita yung 3 Chinese na nakalaunan ay nalaman ko na pangalan nila ay si Chokentong, Jackson Lee at Wong. Noong August 11, 2016, pumasok ang mga tauhan ng Bucor sa aking silda at ako ay kinapkapan nila, pinalabas na nila na may nakuha sa akin na empty sachet na shabu na may kaunting residue sa aking bulsa. Sa aking pagkakaalam, ito ay para ng plano nila Leopoldo Tan kung paano iligpit yung 3 Chinese. Sa araw din na yon, at ako at si Leopoldo Tan ay sabay na pumasok sa Bartolina, silda 6. Noong hapon, August 13, 2016, dinala ng mga taga-Bucor yung 3 Chinese national sa aming silda noong unang araw na lang pumasok sa loob. Kaya pinalabas muna kami ni Leopoldo Tan at saka sila pinapasok. Pwede may tubig, sir? Wow man.
Page, pakibigyan nga ng tubig.
Thank you, sir. Ito. Sila size, no? Noong hapon na yun. Noong hapon na yon, August 13, ulitin ko, dinala ng mga taga-Bucor yung 3 Chinese national sa aming silda noong unang araw, ilang pumasok sa loob. Kaya pinalabas muna kami ni Leopoldo Tan, saka sila pinapasok ulit. Mga 8 a.m. ng gabi, ng araw na yon, pinagsasaksak na namin ni Leopoldo Tan yung 3 Chinese at ginamitan ko ng panaksak at yung ibinigay ni Leo Pinkian na 29 balisong. Samantalang si Leopoldo Tan naman ay gumamit ng pagsaksak. Si Leo Pinkian ay isa rin sa mga bilanggo. Ngunit sa mga panahon na yun, siya ay ang mayor ng Bartolina, Davao Prison and Penal Farm. Ayon sa amin, pinagkasunduan sabay naming na ipinagsasaksak yung 3 Chinese, Chokintong at Wong, para hindi sila makalaban. Habang sinaksak ko si Chokintong at si Jackson Lee ng mga oras na yun, na agad ko namang pinalingan yung saksak yung tumumba na si Chokintong. Pagkatapos ng insidente ng pagpatay sa 3 Chinese drug lord, nilagyan ko ng malong yung rihas ng Bartolina silda size para hindi makita yung duguan na katawan ng 3 Chinese drug lord. Pagkatapos ay dumating si Superintendent Grialdo Padilla sa Bartolina silda size at sinabi niya, anong ginamit niyo? Ihagis nyo sa labas at ihagis nyo naman sa aming, hinagis naman namin ang kurta at balisong sa labas ng silda namin. Nilabas namin sa silda ang kamay namin sa presohan. Kami ni Sir Poro, pinalabas kami para dalhin sa IS Investigation Section. Kami ni Leopoldo Tan ay kinasuhan ng homicide dahil sa pagpatay sa 3 Chinese na agad aming inamin para matapos na yung kaso dahil sa aming pag-amin noong 2019. Kami ay nasintensyahan ng 3 counts at 3 years, 6 months, and 1 day. Pagkatapos ay 2 araw ng incident, pagsaksak namin sa 3 Chinese drug lord, tinanong ako ni Leopoldo Tan kung kanino ibigay yung pera. Sinabi ni Leopoldo Tan sa akin, binigay. Sabi ko, sa asawa kong si Linlin. Pag alam ko na nakuha na yung 1 million noong dumalaw siya sa akin. Pagkatapos noon, hindi namin yung pinangakong paglaya naman, pero hanggang ngayon kami pa rin ay nasa loob ng kulungan. Pinangako nila yon. Ibinigay ko itong salaysay na ito dahil sa galit ko sa kanila. Ginawa namin ang pinatrabaho nila pero hindi tinupad ang kalayaan na pinangako nila sa amin. Ang lahat ng sinabi ko sa salaysay na ito ay po ang katotohanan lamang at walang sino man ang nagturo o nag-influensya, at alam ko rin na maaring gamitin laban pabor sa akin. Sa ngayon, ito na lang po ang masasabi ko at wala nang idagdag pa sa aking salaysay. Sa katunayan, ay nalagdaan ko ito ngayong ika-21 ng August 2024 dito sa lungsod ng Baguio. Sinumpaan at nilagdaan sa harap ko ngayon ika-21 ng August 2024 sa lungsod ng Baguio.
Okay, salamat, Andy.
Thank you po.
Ito bang pirma dito sa salaysay na ito na binabasa mo ay iyong pirma?
Yes, For Honor.
Okay, salamat. Wala ka nang idadagdag?
Wala na po, Your Honor. Yun na po.
Okay, ang ating sunod na tawagin, ang ating isang witness sa pangalan na Mr. Leopoldo Tan, alias Tata. Tama po ba? Okay. Sige, Tata, pakibigay ang iyong salaysay.
Magandang araw po sa lahat po. Sinumpa ang salaysay. Ako si Leopoldo Ontalan Tan Jr. Nasa 54 na taong gulang, Pilipino at kasalukuyang kapiit sa Service Support Company, Philippine Military Academy. Matapos makapanumpa na ngayon sa batas ay malaya at kusang loob na nagsasaad ng mga sumusunod. Noong taong 2005, ako ay nahatulan at nakakulong sa Davao Prison Penal Farm dahil sa paglabag ng RA 9165. Noong mga bandang July 2016, habang sinisilbi ko ang aking sentensya sa maximum compound, dumalaw sa akin ang kaibigan ko na si SPO4 Arthur Narsulis. Si SPO4 Arthur Narsulis ay kaklase ko noong high school. At sa kanya din ako humihingi ng tulong ng aking kaso. Siya ay naka-assign sa CIDG 11 at nakabase sa Davao City. At boss niya si Colonel Edelberto Leonardo, Regional Chief ng CIDG 11 Davao City, at Lieutenant Colonel Regina Garma. Noong araw din yun, nakiusap sa akin si SPO4 Arthur Narsulis at sinabi niya na may ipatatrabaho ako sa iyo at may basbas sa taas. Baka matulungan ka rin namin na makalaya. Kakausapin ko namin ang presidente. Sabi pa ni SPO4 Arthur Narsulis, sayang din itong isang manok kada ulo. Sa aking pagkakaintindi at pagkakaalam, ang isang manok ay 1 milyon. Tinanggap ko ang alok ni SPO4 Arthur Narsulis na pera at pangakong makakalaya ako. Dahil naniniwala ako sa kapasidad at kakayahan ng boss niya na si Colonel Edelberto Leonardo na matutupad nila ang kanilang pangako dahil sa malakas sila sa taas. Tinanong ko kay SPO4 Arthur Nasulis kung sino ang mga tatrabahuin at pinakita niya ang isang kapirasong papel na naglalaman ng mga pangalan ni na Chukintong at Jackson Lee. At sinabi pa ni SPO4 Arthur Nasulis na 3 sila, ngunit yung isa na may pangalan na Peter Wang ay darating mamayang gabi dahil manggagaling siya sa ibang kolonya. Nagpakita pa si SPO4 Arthur Nasulis sa akin ng isang papel na naglalaman ng iba't ibang pangalan ng 32 na Chinese drug lords na nakapiit sa iba't ibang kolonya. Sinabi pa ni SPO4 Arthur Nasulis na ang mga Chinese na mga ito ay drug lords at galit ang presidente sa kanila. Kinabukasan at sa mga sumusunod na araw, nagmanman ako at nagtanong-tanong ako tungkol sa 3 Chinese drug lords. At nalaman ko na ang mga ito nakakulong sa foreign ward na bakod ang pagitan sa amin at may barbed wire pa. Kaya isang gabi, tumawag ako kay Arthur Nasulis at sinabihan ko na mahihirapan ako na kunin yung 3 Chinese drug lords kasi nakabukod sila. May bakod at may barbed wire pa. Sinabihan ako ni SPO4 Arthur Nasulis na maghanap ako ng kasama ko para sa trabaho sa 3 Chinese drug lords. Ibabartolina na lang kami at doon na namin isasagawa ang pagpatay. Ayaw nilang pumasok nung una dahil nakita kami sa loob ng selda ni Fernando Magdadaro. Dahil dito, inilipat muna kami.
Excuse me, sinusundan namin ng iyong affidavit, no? Parang hindi kasama itong pahinang ito. Pwede bang malaman kung kasama ito sa iyong itong number 14, page 3? Page 4 na siya eh. Number 14. Paki 13. Umikit lang. Number 14. Galing sa 13, di ba? Umikit lang. Paki-check mo nga ulit kung yan ba kasama sa iyong salaysay.
Opo.
Kasama ba yan? Pakisagot mo lang. Yan bang pahinang yan ay kasama sa iyong sinumpaang salaysay?
Kasama po.
Okay, sige. Pwede mo nang ipagpatuloy.
Dito ko na kinausap si Fernando Magdadaro na kasama ko din na bilanggo sa Davao Penal Farm and Prison Farm. Si Andy ay kaibigan ko at alam ko na isa siyang trabahante. Sa sumunod na araw ay bumisita si SPO4 Arthur Nasulis at kinausap kami ni Andy sa labas ng Davao Penal Farm. Dito binuksan ng gate officer ang control gate at nakita ko din sa gates si Superintendent Gerardo Padilla at tinapik pa ako. Noong papalabas kami ng gate, narinig ko yung isang empleyado sa pintuan napuntahan si Portalisa, Major Portalisa. Sabihin nyo na may dalaw siya, ang classmate niya na si Garma. Ang Garma na tinutukoy ay si Lieutenant Colonel Ruina Garma na sa pagkaalam ko ay taga-CIDG. Kilala ko si Lieutenant Colonel Ruina Garma, nakarelasyon ni Art SPO4 Nasulis. Kinabukasan, nagkaroon ng search at pinalabas na may nakuhang sachets ng shabu sa aking bulsa. Dahil dito, ako ay dinala sa Bartolina, Silda 6, kung saan nakasama ko si Fernando Magdadaro na nakuhanan din ng shabu sa bulsa. Sa loob ng Bartolina, lumapit si Jimmy Portalisa at sinabihan ako ng, "Tol, Trabahuin nyo yan. Hindi kayo pwedeng pumalpak. Habang nasa Bartolina kami, si Jimmy Fortaleza ang nagbibigay sa amin ng kanin, ulam, sigarilyo at coke. Pagkaraan ng 2 araw, dinala ng mga taga-Bucor yung 3 Chinese drug lords sa Bartolina, Silda 6. Ayaw nilang pumasok nung una dahil nakita kami sa loob ni Fernando Magdadaro. Dahil dito, nilipat muna kami sa Bartolina, Silda 4, saka pumasok ang 3 Chinese drug lords at pagkaraan ng ilang minuto ay binalik din kami sa Bartolina, Silda 6. Noong August 13 ng gabi, pinagsasaksak na namin yung 3 Chinese drug lords. Ginamit ko ang korta at pagsaksak at si Fernando Magdadaro naman ay gumamit ng 29 balisong sa pagsaksak. Ang korta at 29 balisong na nagamit ng palaksak na binigay ni Leo Pinkian 1 araw bago yung insidente. Si Leo Pinkian ay mayor ng Bartolina. Napag-usapan namin ni Fernando Magdadaro na sabay naming sasaksakin yung 3 Chinese drug lords kaya pinagsasaksak niya si Chukintong habang pinagsaksak ko naman si Peter Wang. Pagkatapos sumunod na pinagsasaksak ni Fernando Magdadaro si Jackson Lee. Pagkatapos ng insidente ng pagpatay sa 3 Chinese drug lords, nilagyan ni Fernando Magdadaro ng malong yung rehas ng Bartolina, Silda 6, para hindi makita ang duguan na katawan ng 3 Chinese drug lords. Pagkatapos ay dumating si Superintendent Gerardo Padilla sa Bartolina, Silda 6. At sinabi niya na, anong ginamit ninyo? Ihagis sa labas. At hinagis naman namin ang korta at ang balisong sa labas ng silda. Nilabas namin sa silda ang kamay namin at pinusasan kami ni Sir Puro. Pinalabas kami para dalhin sa IS Investigation Section. Habang naglalakad kami papuntang investigation section, tumunog ang cellphone ni Superintendent Padilla. Nakita ko sa napilindot ni Superintendent Padilla ang kanyang cellphone. Nadinig ko na sinabi nung tumawag kay Superintendent Padilla, "Congrats Superintendent Padilla, job well done." Pero grabe yung ginawang dinuguan. Alam ko na ang kausap ni Superintendent Padilla ay si Presidente Duterte. Dahil pamilyar ko ang boses niya.
Sandali lang, no? Teka muna, medyo seryoso yung sinabi mo, eh. Pinaninindigan mo ba yan?
Opo, sir.
Pwede bang ulitin mo kung ano yung sinabi mo?
Habang naglalakad kami, papuntang investigation section, tumunog ang cellphone ni Superintendent Padilla. Nakita ko sa napilindot ni Superintendent Padilla ang kanyang cellphone. Nadinig ko na sinabi nung tumawag kay Superintendent Padilla, "Congrats Superintendent Padilla, job well done." Pero grabe yung dinuguan.
Meron kang kasing binanggit, na pangalan, yung nandito sa number 29. Ito ay pinaninindigan mo.
Opo.
Pwede bang pakiulit mo ulit kung ano yung sinabi mo dito?
Alam ko na ang kausap ni Superintendent Padilla ay si President Duterte dahil pamilyar ko ang boses niya.
Nakakausap mo ba si President Duterte?
Narinig ko lang palagi yung boses niya kaya pamilyar yung boses na narinig ko.
Sige, patuloy lang.
Pagkatapos ng tawag, sabi ni Superintendent Padilla sa mga kasamahan niya doon, tumawag si Presidente na congrats sa akin. Dahil sa sinabing ito ni Superintendent Padilla, kaya lalo akong napaniwala na ang tumawag sa kanya ay si President Duterte. Pagkatapos kaming imbestigahan sa IS, kinausap kami ng hipi ng Bartolina na si Jerome Glassi. Pinapapili kami kung saan selda ang gusto namin at pinapalinis ni Superintendent Padilla. Pinili namin ang Bartolina, Silda 6 at doon kami naglagi ng 3 linggo. Pagkatapos ng 2 araw, dumalaw sa akin si SPO4 Arthur Narsulis at sinabihan kami na nandito na ang reward ninyo na tig 1 milyon. Saan ko ito ibibigay? At ang sagot ko, ibigay mo ang 1 milyon sa asawa ko. At ang sani naman ni Fernando Magdadaro, ibigay ang 1 milyon sa kanyang asawa. Pagkaalis ni SPO4 na Rasulis, naisip ko na ang usapan namin ay 1 milyon kada ulo. Kaya kulang ang reward na natanggap ng mga asawa namin. Ngunit naisip ko rin na easy target lang naman at importante ay ang kalayaan namin. Noong sumunod na araw ay dumalaw ang asawa ko at ang asawa ni Fernando Magdadaro at kinumpirma nila na natanggap na nila ang tig 1 milyon. Palagi kong tinatawagan si SPO4 Arthur Narsulis tungkol sa aming paglaya at ang palagi niyang sinasabi, mag-antay-antay lang kayo, makakalaya din kayo. Sabihan namin ang presidente. Naghintay kami sa pangakong yun hanggang matapos ang administrasyon, hindi kami tinulungan na lumabas. Hanggang sa pinaamin nila ang kaso ng pagpatay sa 3 Chinese drug lord at kinasuhan kami ng homicide. Ngunit sa kalaunan namin para matapos na at tulungan kaming makalaya. Nakumbik kami sa pagpatay sa 3 Chinese drug lord. Ibinigay ko itong salaysay na ito dahil sa galit ko sa kanila. Ginawa naman namin ang pinatrabaho nila pero hindi naman tinupad ang kalayaan na pinangako. Ang lahat ng sinasabi ko ay sa salaysay na ito ay pawang katotohanan lamang at walang sino man ang nagturo o nag-impluensya. At alam ko rin na maaaring gamitin laban o pabor sa akin, sa ngayon ito ay na lang po ang masasabi ko at wala nang idadagdag pa sa aking salaysay. Bilang patuto, lumagda ngayong ika-21 Agosto 2024 ng lungsod ng Baguio. Maraming salamat.
Okay, salamat Mr. Tan. Ito bang sa salaysay mo, pirma mo ito?
Opo, Your Honor.
Okay, meron ka pa bang idadagdag na
Wala na po.
wala ka nang dadagdag? Okay. Now, we will proceed with the interpellations from the members. Meron pong nagpalista dito sa atin earlier at ang una pong magtatanong ay si Congresswoman Jinky Jervil Luistro. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With your permission, I wish to address my questions to Fernando P. Magdadaro. Mr. Magdadaro, Andy nga ba ang palayaw mo o tawag sa iyo?
Opo, Your Honor.
Ikaw ba, Andy, ay nag-almusal ngayong umagang ito?
Kaunti lang po, Your Honor.
Bakit hindi mo dinamihan?
Kasi mahabang biyahe, Your Honor, baka mag-iihi pag kami sa daan.
Nakatulog ka ba, Andy?
Mula nang nakarating kami sa Manila, Your Honor, hindi ako na masyado nakatulog ng mabuti.
Sa kabila ng iyong sinabi, maayos ba ang pakiramdam mo ngayong oras na ito?
Opo, Your Honor.
Nasa maliwanag ka bang pag-iisip?
Yes, Your Honor.
Andy, magkakulay tayo ng damit. Samahan mo ako sa aking advokasya para sa katotohanan, Andy. Andy, ang mga susunod kong tanong ay sasagutin mo lang ng opo o hindi po. Maliwanag ba yon, Andy?
Opo, Your Honor.
Naririto ka upang isalaysay ang ginawa ninyong pagpatay sa 3 Chinese nationals, sina Cho Kintong, Jackson Lee, at Wong. Pawang sentensyado ng mga kasong drugs noong August 13, 2016 sa Davao Prison and Penal Farm. Nauunawaan mo ba ito, Andy?
Opo, Your Honor.
Ang ginawa ninyong pagpatay sa 3 nationals, Chinese nationals, ay posibleng isa lamang sa maraming biktima ng war on drugs na kasalukuyang iniimbestigahan din ng Quad Committee. Nauunawaan mo ba ito, Andy?
Opo, Your Honor.
Ganon din, Andy. Ang pagpatay dito sa 3 Chinese nationals ay posibleng bahagi din ng war on drugs, mas kilala bilang extrajudicial killing or EJK, na kasalukuyang dinidinig ng ICC or International Criminal Court kung saan ang pangunahing iniimbestigahan ay walang iba kung hindi ang dating Pangulo, Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Ito ba, Andy, nauunawaan mo?
Opo, Your Honor.
Andy, nakikilala mo ba ang dating Pangulo?
Opo, Your Honor.
Sino ang dating Pangulo?
Rodrigo Roa Duterte po, Your Honor. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte po.
Andi, sa kasalukuyan, ikaw ay nanumpa at nasa harap ng mga congressmen. Bahagi ng Quad Committee. Bawal magsinungaling. Nauunawaan mo ba ito?
Opo, Your Honor.
Napapanood ka din sa buong mundo, Andi. Nauunawaan mo ba ito?
Opo, Your Honor.
At sa kabila ng lahat ng aking mga naging katanungan sa iyo, Andi, sigurado ka ba sa ginagawa mo?
Opo, Your Honor.
Voluntaryo ba ang ginagawa mo?
Opo.
Handa ka ba sa posibilidad na maaaring itong pagpatay ninyo sa 3 Chinese nationals ay bahagi nga ng War on Drugs or EJK, kung saan ang pangunahing suspect ay walang iba kung hindi ang Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte?
Yes po, Your Honor.
Punta tayo, Andy, sa iyong sinumpaang salaysay. Sa paragraph 3, iyong binanggit, nilapitan at kinausap ka ni Leopoldo Tan. Sino si Leopoldo Tan?
Kasama ko po, Your Honor, sa bilangguan po.
Ano?
Maximum security compound.
Ano ang dahilan, Andy, at nilapitan at kinausap ka ni Leopoldo Tan?
Dahil po sa pagpatay po. Nangailangan po siya ng makasama niya sa pagtrabaho.
Kailangan niya ng makakasama sa pagpatay. Napansin ko dito sa paragraph 4 ng iyong salaysay, ginamit mo ang salitang ipapatira. Ang ibig sabihin ba dito ng ipapatira ay ang pagpatay na binabanggit mo ngayon?
Opo, Your Honor.
Sino ang papatayin, Andy, ayon kay Leopoldo Tan?
Yun pong 3 Chinese, Your Honor, drug lord, Chokentong, si Wang at sa Daxion Lee. Yun po silang 3.
Andy, saan matatagpuan nung panahong iyon itong 3 Chinese national na ayon kay Leopoldo Tan ay papatayin?
Doon po sa compound ng foreign ward po, Your Honor. Nakahiwalay po sa maximum.
Nalalaman mo ba, Andy, ang dahilan kung bakit ipinapapatay itong 3 Chinese national?
Yes po, Your Honor.
Ano ang dahilan, Andy? Bakit ipinapapatay itong 3 Chinese national?
Drug lord po sila, Your Honor. Kasama po sa mga pinapatay sila.
Sa makatuwid, Andy, naniniwala ka na ang dahilan kung bakit ipinapapatay itong 3 Chinese national na ito ay dahil sila'y sentensyado ng mga kasong drugs. Tama?
Opo, Your Honor.
Ikaw ba ay kaagad pumayag sa nasabing paghingi ng tulong sa iyo ni Leopoldo Tan?
Yes po, Your Honor.
At maaari bang malaman ang dahilan? Bakit ka pumayag?
Dahil po, Your Honor, sa kunting halaga at sa kalayaan po namin, Your Honor.
Pwede bang malaman magkano yung konting halaga?
Yung tinawag po nila, Your Honor, isang manok, 1 million po yun, Your Honor.
1 milyon.
Opo, Your Honor.
Nabanggit mo kanina na 3 ang papataying Chinese national. Magkano ang eksaktong halaga na ipinangako sa inyo?
2 milyon lang po ang nabigay nila, Your Honor. 3 po yun, pero 2 lang nabigay po.
Ang ipinangako ay 3 milyon, pero ang ibinigay ay 2 milyon. Bukod ba sa pangakong pera, Andy, may iba pa bang ipinangako sa'yo? Dahilan kung bakit pumayag ka na tumulong kay Leopoldo Tan?
Kalayaan po namin, Your Honor, pagkatapos ng trabaho namin.
At nalalaman mo ba kung kanino nanggaling ang utos na sinabi sa iyo ni Leopoldo Tan?
Si Leopoldo Tan lang po, Your Honor, ang nakaalam doon kung sinong tao na yun ang kausap niya.
Mr. Chair, I understand that there are other members who wish to ask question to our witness. And to wind up the interpellation, Mr. Chair, I just wish to ask Mr. Magdadaro one last question. Bilang pagtatapos, Andy, sa harap ng Quadcom at ng buong mundo na nanonood sa iyo ngayon, inaamin mo ba ang pagpatay na ginawa ninyo ni Leopoldo Tan sa 3 Chinese nationals na sentensyado ng kasong drugs?
Inamin ko po, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, please allow this representation to make a very short manifestation. Mr.
Okay, please
Chair,
proceed.
honorable members of the Quad Committee, without preempting the findings and recommendation of this inquiry in aid of legislation, I humbly submit that at the very least, the crime of murder under the revised penal code, particularly Article 248, has been established. 2 qualifying circumstances are present. One is evident premeditation, pinagplanuhan ang pagpatay. Second, killing was done in consideration of price, reward, or pledge. Ang pagpatay ay dahil sa ibinayad na pera at ipinangakong kalayaan. However, Mr. Chair, if there are evidence to establish that this incident is part of the widespread or systematic attack against civilian population, then crime against humanity under Article 7, Rome Statute, is likewise established. I understand, Mr. Chair, that while EJK, extrajudicial killing, is anchored under Article 7 of the Rome Statute, I wish to emphasize the following established facts in his affidavit. 1, there is an order to kill. 2, victims are involved in illegal drugs. 3, there was an actual killing incident. And 4th, the killing was done in consideration of money and other pledges. I humbly submit, Mr. Chair, that on the assumption that there are other evidence to establish the widespread and systematic attack against civilian population, we have a case for extrajudicial killing, Mr. Chair. And I urge the honorable members of Quadcom and even of the 19th Congress, this is not only illegal, this is immoral. Let us work together, condemn and fight extrajudicial killing. Thank you, Mr. Chair.